Hey there, this is Red. It's time for another episode of Red Plays. And actually, this game we're going to go through and do a setup version of a new game that I got, which is called Warfighter here. Now, I was looking out on Kickstarter for, just kind of browsing Kickstarter for games. One of the ones I came across, which is already completed actually, is Warfighter Fantasy is coming out pretty soon. They're working on it all pretty soon as relative in Kickstarter terms, right? Could be the next 6 months, could be in a year. We'll see. Anyway, they've completed funding on this and they're working on churning out fantasy, which I'm interested in. That piqued my interest. But Dan Viersen Games here also has, there's existing versions of this that are set in World War II setting or in the modern setting. So there's different genres of this. Now the thought is that these are going to all be interchangeable. So you could take your World War II grunt back to fight a dragon, or you could bring some, kobolds or happen to be in the future fighting some present day Navy SEALs. I don't really like that idea of mixing the genres. You're supposed to be able to do that. I think that's a little bit goofy, but I want to try out the game itself and see how it worked within one genre. And this is a pretty good base set in order to do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through the setup of this Warfighter World War II game. And then the next episode, we'll actually play through the first few rounds. So I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time going over the rules. We'll just go through what the setup looks like so you can see things. All right. One of the great things about this game is it comes with this board here. And this board is amazing because it tells you what you need to do to set up. It's got a mission timer, which is part of the game, is you only have a certain set of rounds to complete your mission. An attack chart on there that lets you know how attacks work out. And then it lays out your attack sequence, and then it lays out the turn sequence. So all the things that you need are right here. Now the rule book is about 70 pages of rules, but that also covers all the different genres that are out there. And there's a lot of pictures and description in there and examples, and the font is really big. So while that seems like an intimidating amount of rules, it really is a simple game once you get into it and get down to it. The important thing about this game is the keywords, because a lot of the cards are going to have keywords on them. And in this game, there's a little guide here that goes through all of the keywords and gives you some examples. So really, that's the bulk of the game, is these keywords and seeing what those effects are on the game. All right, so I'm just going to jump right into setup for this game, and I'm setting up for a really small uh, adventure here, I guess, or outing, you could say. So what you're looking at here is this row down here, kind of is all the different locations, and depending upon what you pick, you could be anywhere from you need to go through 11 locations to where I'm at right here. This is the third location on the map, so I don't really have to go all that far in order for it to finish the mission. So as we go through setup, you have select region and hostiles. And since I have this base core game, that's pretty simplistic, I guess I would say. My choices are very limited in that because all I have is Europe right here. So I know I'm going to be doing Europe. Now I get to select the hostiles that I'm going to go against. In this case, I have German hostiles. I've got the frontline set, and then I've got the expert set. So there's the easy ones and the tougher ones, and I'm going with the easy ones for this episode here. And if you take a look in here, it's a set of different German units. So you've got recruits. So I'll lay a few of them out here. So you've got recruits that you would see there. You've got ambushers. And let's find another one really fast. So you'll have some vehicles in here also. Let's see if I can find one of those. There we go. There's a large truck. So you might run up against a large truck. All right. Really, you've got up in the side here, this is the level that they are. So this has got a 3. They'll range anywhere from 1, 0, all the way through 9 potentially. I don't think I've seen a 9 yet, but that's the different kind of toughness of the thing that's out there. The other things you'll see is this reticle right here tells you how many hits they can take, and then down here is their cover value. So when you attack something, you have to roll the cover value or higher in order to take it out. So you can see some of these things have a So that's going to put you at a 2/3 chance, right? So this is on a 6-sided dice. You're going to have 3, 4, 5, or 6. You can have some modifiers to move that up or down. Then there's also another roll on a 10-sided dice to see whether you hit or not. All right, and then things have special abilities that happen to be in there. So like you can see, this is where the keyword stuff comes in, right? This one's immobile, so it's not moving around. You got a range of 0 to 2, that's how far it can see things, and then it's got a reinforce ability. These are things that you would look up in that glossary or lookup sheet that I have on the side over there. All right, so these are the front line units, and I'm going to shuffle them up and put them on the side over here. And I've got my holders here, but you can see there's spots for all of these things right here. Just free to lay them out. So I'm going to grab my hostiles and put them out there. Now the next set of cards I need to shuffle up are my action cards. So my action cards are in here. I've actually done a bunch of shuffling already, but these are things that you will get for your player character. Each of the player characters that you use, you'll get a hand of cards for. There's 2 other types of characters that you have that you won't get cards for. We'll talk about that a little bit when we get there. All right, so action cards are shuffled up. Then we have select mission and objective cards. All right, so there is a stack of mission cards, and the one I have chosen is Just Another Day. So if you take a look at this mission card, what you're going to see is it's got an entrance value, and that is normally when you move from location to location, there's a cost, there's an entrance cost. Now, your different soldiers that you have will have a movement factor printed on them, and then that, and you would have to potentially discard cards from your hand to meet the entrance cost to move your soldier from one location to another. All right, so this one's 0, so it's not going to have any cost. You just need to use an action to move there. All right, so I'm choosing this Just Another Day. What it's going to tell me is it's going to take me 2 actions to enter hand-to-hand combat. That's what that number is here. So what's important at this point is resources 23. That's telling me how many resource points I can use in order to build my unit. Time is 7, so that's how long I have before I automatically lose. My objective is going to go to number 3, so that's which location on the board. So I've got, this is 1, 2, 3, so that's where my objective is going to be at. And my loadout value is -0, so that's got to do with how much you can carry, what your units can hold on them, and depending upon which mission you take, can vary the loadout amount. Right? And then there's also on the side over here, you can see I have some of these special words. So it says at the start of the first soldier turn, recon 1 location, which essentially means I get to grab 1 location out of the location deck. All right, so this is the mission I'm choosing. There's a variety of other missions out there. So if you take a look at this one here, like this one, here's another one. Here's a raid, right? So first complete a non-escape objective, which you would look that up in the rule book, and then escape back to this mission card. And then it's going to be objective number 7. So it's going to be placed further down the board. You're going to end up about halfway down the board, about right here to place that one. Right? You're going to have 22 turns to finish this, but you're going to, it looks like you have to go all the way down and then back for that one, right? And you start with 59 resources. So a lot more resources. This is going to be a much longer game. You can also see you have a loadout of -2. Your guys have to go a long distance, so they're not going to carry as much because they have to move and carry all that stuff for a much greater distance. So they have a whole variety of them. So you can see right here. Oop, no, you can't see right there because I got this card in the way. Let's get that out of the way. But you can see this base game comes with a variety of different missions, right? The one I've selected is really the shortest one that's out there. Most of them are landing in this range out here for a longer game. All right, so that's my mission card that I'm taking. And then with that, I'm also choosing an objective card. So the objective card that I've got is bunker clearing. So there's also a variety of objective cards. So if you take a look at this one has an entrance cost of 2. So that's where I'm going to need to meet that entrance cost in order to go to this location. And you see it says it's a structure. I have to clear the bunker, and it's got a cover of 4 and 1 hit to take it out. So Really what I need is to blow up the bunker, and I'm going to have to roll a hit to make that happen. It says hostiles screen the bunker can only be attacked from range 0. So range 0 means I have to be on that space in order to attack it. And hostiles screen means that any hostiles have to be taken out before I can target this. Taken out or suppressed before I can take this out. All right, what you'll also see is down here, you see hostiles. There's a hostile number there. So if you look, remember on our mission card, it said the number of resources. So right here, it says resources 23. So I'm going to fall in this. When I build my set of units out there, I have up to 23 points I can use. That means when this card is engaged with, I'm going to draw until I get 2 value plus worth of hostiles on this card. All right. This is where the bigger games with more resources, you're going to run into more hostiles as you run into things. Now, during a game, if you lose some of your units, it can reduce the value of the things that you have. So potentially I've got these soldiers that I use those points to buy. If I were to lose a soldier, and let's say I started with 78 and I put 20 points into a soldier, it took me from 78 down to 58 because I lost that soldier, then my point value going into there would reduce the amount of hostiles that would appear in that area. So this can change during the game. For the game I'm going to play, I'm going to be consistently on the low side of that. Another thing that's here is you see this reinforced value. At the beginning of every enemy's turn, I'm going to draw a card for locations that have my units on them. And if their value matches that reinforced value, they will reinforce that location. All right, so this one you can see if I draw a 0 or a 5 to 6, then that unit will end up helping protect this bunker. All right, so really I'm on this short mission where I'm going to go a very short way and try to blow up this bunker and see how that works out. All right, so next up we got our mission objective cards. We're going to select and equip our soldiers. All right, so that's where the resource points comes into play here. I had 23 resource points. So the first soldier that I'm going to select, there's 3 types of soldiers, and I actually have all 3 types in this game. You've got your player soldiers, you've got your non-player soldiers, and you've got your squad soldiers. All right, when you select a player soldier, you're going to grab one, and there's a variety of them there. Now, every soldier is going to get 2 actions. You see he's going to start with a bonus of 1 experience point. You need to grab that experience point. He's going to cost me 9 points. So 9 out of my 23 points is going to this soldier. He's got a health of 6. That's important because when I go to draw my hand of cards, it's going to be equal to what his health is. He's got a loadout of 10. So that's how much he can carry. He can carry 10 points worth of gear. His bonus to hand cover. So when you do an attack, you roll 1d6 against cover, and then 1d10 for your attacks normally. So if on that d6, the enemy would have to roll that number or better in order to hit him. So that's kind of like your armor, agility, all those kinds of things combined into how well you can take cover, right? All right. So I'm spending 9 points on him. Oh, he has a movement bonus of 1 also. So you saw some of those things where they have like an entrance value of 2. In order to move him there, I would need to do the move action. He gets 1 for free, but then I would have to spend another card in order to get over there. All right. So the deal is when you buy these player soldiers, they're going to get a hand of action cards. That number is equal to their health. Cool. One of the things about those soldiers is they don't come with any weapons, so you have to buy the weapons in addition to the soldier. So I'm going to spend 9 points on Kaczynski here. And then I need to load him out with a couple of things. So one of the things is I'm going to choose this gun here. So we're going to give him an M1 rifle. It's going to cost me 2, and it's got a loadout of 4. So if you remember, he had a loadout of 10. So this is going to take up 4 of his loadout. So I can only carry 6 more loadout worth of gear, right? All right, so it's going to cost 2 for this rifle. And I can see that it shoots at range 0 or at range 1. Now the reload number means if I roll that number on a die, essentially I've expended my clip or a set of my ammunition, and I'm going to have to use an action to reload my gun. The hit numbers, the 7 and the 8 there, say that at range 0, when I roll my d10, I hit on a 7, or I hit on an 8 at range 1. So that would be in the, I can shoot things in the next location. Now, I do have the ability to potentially shoot in different modes, depending upon the weapon that I take, but this one only has semi-automatic mode, right? I also see that I have penetration 1, which means that for the cover, I reduce the enemy's cover by 1 because of my penetration 1, which is part of those rules that you look up on the side there. Another thing to note is this comes with 5 30-06 ammo. So what that means is I'm going to start with a stack, and that's why I've got a 5 on a die and an ammo counter here. What you would normally do is you would stack up 5 ammo counters, and then when you roll a 2, you would then move this ammo counter, you would flip it over, and on the other side of the ammo counter, there's an empty counter there, right? It says your ammo is empty. Then you have to take an action to reload it, and at that point in time, you would move it out of the way, and you would be back to having ammo again. I'm using, rather than having a stack of counters, I'm representing it with a die here to show how many I have. That way I don't have to manipulate a stack of counters. All right, so I've got 9 points going into Kaczynski. We're going to give him this rifle, which costs 2 points. So we're up to 11. The other thing we're going to do is you can get there's some equipment cards that you can purchase. So I'm going to buy a canteen, and it's going to let me use it to draw 3 cards, or I can gain 2 hardy. That's a limit 2 per soldier. So hardy can help you fight off different effects that you get. But really what I'm using it for is this expend to draw 3 cards. We're going to be on such a short mission that the hardy's not going to come into play a whole lot. But the 3 cards is going to be a big thing for me. So there's another point into the canteen. And then I'm going to give him grenades. So I actually have the grenades over here. Now that's also one of the things about this game. In this set, there is only 1 grenade card, Mark II grenade card. That does not mean the weapons aren't limited in this game. So actually, if I've only got 1 M1 rifle, I can still purchase that for multiple characters. This is not meant to be a supply limit equal to the number of cards, right? So multiple characters, if you only have 1 card, multiple characters can still have that card. You just keep it out there for reference. All right, I'm also going to buy him one of these Mark II grenades. You see it's a thrown weapon. It's going to cost him 1, range 0, so that means he's going to have to be at that location. It hits on 7s. And then you see explosion, it's got 4 rolls. So rather than 1 attack like most guns give you, it's going to get 4. I'm going to roll 4 sets of attacks. Then it's expended, which means it goes away. It's got a penetration of 1 like my rifle, so it's going to knock the cover down. And I can only carry 5 grenades per soldier. All right, so that's Kaczynski there. So to get Kaczynski going, what we're looking at is 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. We're spending 13 to get Kaczynski out there of our 23 points. So that means we have 10 more points to go. All right, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and our resources is 23. All right, so then we're going to take a look at Alan here. He's the next one I'm going to buy. So this is Kaczynski's a player soldier, which means that he's going to get a hand of cards, and you have to have at least 1 player soldier in your group. You could have multiple if you want. All right, next up we have non-player soldier, which is the NPS, Alan. All right, we'll take a look at Alan. He's got a movement of 2, which is good. That means like that one that had 2 movement, it's not going to cost me any action cards to go into there. He's got a cost of 7, right? So of our 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, we're going to be up to 20 as we take Alan in here. Now, one of the things you see is he's got a 2 and a 1, so that means he can take 2 hits before he goes out. So he's got 1 hit, he's going to be reduced to 1. So with his 2 hits, he has 2 actions per round. If he takes a wound, then he'll be down to 1, and he only gets 1 action per round. Now, the good thing about the non-player soldiers, they don't get a hand of cards, but he gets these weapons automatically, which is pretty cool. So he's going to start with a M1 carbine, and then he's going to get 2 of those grenades. So that would normally cost me 2, 3, 4 points, but that's actually captured in his cost. All right. So if we take a look at the weapons that he's going to come with, So his weapon compared to, let's compare that to the rifle, right? It's pretty close. They're both M1s, right? If we take a look at it, the rifle's got penetration 1. This one doesn't have penetration. The reload value on it is lower. I would have to roll a 1 in order to need to do a reload. At short range, it's easier to hit, but it's tougher to hit at long range, right? And it's also going to hold a little bit more ammo. And we don't see any loadout factor on this one either, which is interesting. It's easy to carry. So what it ends up doing is it defaults to its cost. It's going to have a loadout of 2. Doesn't matter on a non-player soldier. All right. And he's going to have 2 of those grenades also. So that's going to come in handy. All right. So same thing. It has 6 ammo. I'm representing it by a die on his card there. Now the last soldier that I have is a squad soldier. So squad soldiers are also, they don't get a fist of cards like your player soldier does. He actually only has 1 health, but he's going to get 2 actions with his 1 health, which is pretty good. And he hits on 6s, so he's kind of a glass cannon. So he's going to get to shoot a lot, but he takes 1 hit and he's out. He's got movement of 2. He's only going to cost me 2 points, so he's pretty cheap. Cover of 1, well, a 1's pretty easy to roll on a 6-sided die. So yeah, as soon as something targets him, he's potentially going to go pretty quick. But he gets 2 attacks, so hopefully he can take other things out quickly. He's got hardy of 1, but I haven't seen it come into that much use in this short of a game yet. All right, you'll also notice in all of these soldiers, I have little markers up there in the corner for them. I've got 1, 2, and 3, and those end up being on the board here, representing them in this location here. There's a 1, 2, and 3 to represent those 3 soldiers in that location. All right, so we've got 3 different soldiers: player soldier, non-player soldier, and a squad soldier. You'll notice the squad soldier really doesn't have equipment. He just comes with an attack, and it tells you what it is that he can do. So he doesn't get a loadout or limited ammunition like the other soldiers do. So what we're looking at here, let's see what we've got for points. So we've got 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 20, 21, 22. So I can actually use 1 more point. I think I'm going to let's grab another grenade to throw in there. So we'll double up on grenades here. All right, so what we've done is we have selected and equipped our soldiers at this point in time. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to look at placing counters. So these are all our grenades that we have out here. The timer is going to go on 7. Our bunker is going to start inactive. So that means that even though this location is here, it hasn't been activated yet, so it doesn't load out enemies yet. That also means I can't go into that location until I activate it. So it's kind of it's got a give and a go kind of thing there. All right, next up, we're going to deal action cards. So I'm going to grab action cards here. And we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, how do I know how many action cards I get? I take a look at Kaczynski here, and he's got a health of 6, so that's how many action cards I get. Get 6 action cards. All right, it says place my soldiers on the mission card and place the mission timer counter. So we've got all of our things out there at this point in time. And let's take a look at our action card. So take a quick look at what we've got here. And one of the things I was hoping to get that I didn't get was another location card. So there are cards in this deck that say draw a location card. And let's see if I can find one really fast. I'm going to grab a chunk of these out of here. And there should be one in here. It's taking me a while to find one. There we go, location marker cards. So if I were to draw one of these location marker cards, I would discard it and grab a location out of the deck, right? Where it would be nice is this early in the game, I'm going to need to drop a location right there. Well, I don't have to, but it would be good to have a location there, and having choice would be most excellent. This is going to put me at a point where I don't have a choice, and I'm probably going to have to just drop whatever it is that I pull from the deck. All right, other things that you need for setup. So things to keep in close proximity are going to be these tokens here. So you have these tokens that are enemy killed in action, or suppressed. All right, so the enemy killed in action is pretty obvious, like you took one of the enemies out. And the suppressed means that they're hiding behind cover. So there are, in order to get a suppressed marker, in order to hit, you need to surpass the cover value. And then you also need to roll on the 10-sided dice what it is you need to hit with that weapon. So if you get just one of those, you end up suppressing the enemy. If you get neither of them, you miss. If you get both of them, you hit and you get the enemy killed in action. And the way it works on the reverse side of that is if the enemy can miss you, they can suppress you, or they do a wound to your character. All right. So that's why there's no like player killed in action thing. You take wounds on your side. All right, so you're going to want a set of those to keep pretty close. The other thing you're going to need is there's a set of tokens that match the characters that you have. So in this case, I have 3 characters. I've got a set of tokens here that are 1 through 3. And you're going to want these in kind of a blind grab spot where you're not peeking. I just have them in a little bowl here, and I don't look when I grab. So you could put them in a bag. You could be more secretive about the whole thing. But that's going to dictate where an enemy targets, which one of your soldiers an enemy targets and moves and attempts to shoot is driven by those tokens. Things other than that should be in close proximities. You're going to want some experience tokens out there, because as you defeat enemies, you're going to get some experience. Then also some wounds, some wound markers, because as you take damage, your traits are going to get lower. You're not going to do as well. Ideally, that doesn't happen and you don't get taken out. Hopefully you don't get a whole lot of wound markers. I probably won't use a whole lot, because my characters that are here, like Smith here, can take 1 wound and then he's out. Alan here can take 2 wounds and then he's out. Kaczynski here can take a lot more wounds, but I'm hoping he doesn't take a whole lot of wounds, because when that happens, his hand size goes down. Because the game's so short, also, I haven't picked any things to help heal myself up. There's a lot of cards in here that are like med kits and things you can do to actually, if you take a wound, to help erase the wound. But I'm not using any of that because I just got to hop a short distance. So we're trying to do a minimal loadout in order to make this go. All right, so we've made our way all the way through the setup at this point in time, and we're getting ready to play. For the actual gameplay, I'm going to hop over to another video in order to do that. One of the things that I will note is when you look at this, just another day, it says I'm going to, at the start of the first soldier's turn, I'm going to recon 1, which means I will get to grab a location card at the beginning of my first turn, which is where I was talking about. I'm going to have an option for 1 here in order to get it. If I did not have that recon 1, what I would need to do on my first turn would be to use one of my actions in order to draw a new hand of cards. So I would discard these cards probably, then grab a whole nother set of cards, looking to get one of those location cards to swap out and get a location to bring into play. On your first turn, you need to get a location card. That's part of the rules, is you will need to spend actions until you get a location card. So had I not had this lookout, I would be forced to do that. I will have to make a choice as to whether I want to do that or not on my first turn here. So, all right, I think we're going to cut this video off here. And then for the next video, we'll go ahead and jump into gameplay and get this going. So let me know if I missed anything in the setup here, but I'll put a link at the end of the video to the next video where we actually go through trying to clear out this bunker and see if we can make it happen or not. I've played a few on my own and it's been kind of hit and miss. Some things go kind of crazy. Other times I've flown right through. A lot of it depends on what comes out of that location deck. So I would really like to manipulate that, but we'll see. All right, well, that's it for now. I'll put the link up in the following piece. There should be a thing to click to go right on over to the next one. Thanks for watching. Let me know if I missed anything. Be sure to subscribe, and see you later.